down in the Now I know y'all be loving this shit right here. Rolling, rolling, rolling. What you gonna do? Rolling, rolling. What you gonna do now? Down in the rolling, rolling, rolling.
Welcome to the Man United stream. Hope you're doing well. It is, of course, a sad day. A sad day. A sad morning. I don't even know how to approach this morning's show. I mean, I was upset last night. I was going to do a reaction last night immediately, and I was like, no, because I'm just going to go completely berserk. I'm going to say things that I probably don't want to say, probably don't mean in the moment of, you know, just being pissed or whatever. You know, Man United lost against Newcastle, against 10 men of Newcastle last night. And we're being asked the same questions, aren't we? Same questions being asked, same day, same kind of stuff, which was United are just not what we think they are. I warned you guys. I warned you yesterday in the preview show. I said to you guys, look, we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle. I just can't see United taking the current form. And most people are thinking, what you're on about, Travis? The current form. What current form? They're brilliant. But the last 2-3 games Man United have been playing, they've been poor. They've been poor. They've not looked like themselves when they were played against Man City and Arsenal. They didn't look the same team. They look like they've lost that edge. They've lost that drive, the intensity, the break, just closing down. Everything just didn't look right. Didn't look right. But I think the biggest problem we saw last night was that when we needed to make changes, when we needed to bring on fresh faces, bring on the fresh legs, we had no options. Ugarte for Casemiro does not work. Never has worked, never will work. It is like night and day. The difference is mad. You thinking that you can take off Casemiro and replace him with Ugarte is an absolute joke. And I'm not blaming Carrick for that. I'm just simply saying that the difference is huge. It's humongous. The two players are not in the same league. Ugarte is not that guy. He is not good enough defensively. He's not good when it comes to passing, and he definitely can't score. He definitely cannot score. I cannot remember the last time Ugarte scored. I've had to come on early today. I don't usually come on this early, but I've been waiting since 9 o'clock, actually. I've been waiting here. I've been sat at my PC thinking, right, I need to go on. I need to go on. I need to vent. I need to let go of this hurt, this pain. I'm going through bloody pain, man. I feel like my whole body's aching. My head is aching. My eyes don't want to open up and face the reality of the team that we've got, the squad that we've got. It's shit. It is shit. And this is me holding back, guys, okay? This is me holding back. I said it time and time again. Look, to secure Champions League football, just go out there and buy a couple of new players for Carrick to cook with. Yeah? Do not let this opportunity slip through your effing fingers, because that's what it's going to be like. We're going to regret this if we go on a run of games where we can't win against flipping 10 men. 10 men. Yesterday's show, we had a Newcastle fan on, and it was, I think it's a she, but and she was talked about how we'd not won against Newcastle, and Newcastle are going to play well, but wasn't quite convinced about Newcastle's form. But for me, I knew St James's Park, when Man United turn up, it's a different atmosphere. The fans are not going to let you get away with it. If you're a Newcastle team, You can't put in a mediocre performance. You can't put in a performance which is below par. It doesn't matter what you've been doing for the entire season. It doesn't matter what your form's been like in the last couple of games. When Man United turn up to town, when Man United walk onto St James's Park, you are obliged to go out there and work your backside off against Man United. And that's what we saw. That's what we saw. The 10 men of Newcastle. And we got lucky. We got lucky again. We got lucky with that sending off. But then again, I think Joe Linton should have been sent off for his display. I think after he got his yellow card, he started clapping behind the ref's back. I think that was definitely another yellow card, but he got away with it. Ramsey, look, was it harsh? Actually, I'll be honest with you. I think he did try to simulate. I did think that he went down looking for a pen. Yes, there's some of us who are saying, well, he didn't get up and shout pen and he didn't ask for a pen, but it doesn't make a difference because I felt like he went down and he went down. What made it obvious to me was he went down way after the actual, contact, or if there was any contact, he went down way after. And that for me is simulation. And of course, he was looking for the penalty. Whether he appealed for it or not makes no difference. And I think it rightly so. He got a yellow card. Was it lucky? Yeah, I think it was lucky. Was it uncalled for? No. But it was lucky because in most games, I don't think refs would have given that as a second yellow. And it wouldn't have been a big issue. But look, the problem we've got right now is that we've got a team of players that are brilliant, but they're starting to pick up injuries. And Carrick has done fantastic with this first 11. Has done fantastic. And this whole loss, it's got nothing to do with Michael Carrick. So anybody out there, yesterday I saw messages on social media going about Carrick this, Carrick that, and I was like, shut up, you idiots. How are you even Man United fans? How can you sit there and say that Michael Carrick's to blame and this is why, there's question marks over him? Stop right there. It had nothing to do with Michael Carrick. It had everything to do with Wilcox and Ineos and their recruitment over the January transfer window. We should have sold Malacia. We should have sold Ugarte. We should have brought in replacements, at least half decent replacements. That's what we should have been doing. But we failed to because our recruitment is kind of rubbish. It is rubbish. Our recruitment department is not good enough at selling players. We find it difficult to sell the likes of Malacia. How long have we heard that Malacia's going to get sold, doesn't get sold? And yesterday, the moment Malacia came on, I said, we're shafted. Mazraoui out injured. I think he's out injured for a couple of games at least because I've seen a clip of him straight after the game, and he was hobbling, so it can't be something minor. It was on the cards, guys. It was on the cards. Like I said, after the equaliser, Casemiro goal, Bruno Fernandes assist, I just thought, brilliant. Do you know what? We've just gone and equalised, and we've literally just before half time. Any hope that Newcastle would have had from the penalty, it would have just gone down the drain. They would have thought, right, okay, no way. And that penalty against Gordon was really soft as well. Really soft. I don't know what is going on with pens right now, but someone needs to get a grip of him because that wasn't a pen. It was just a clash of legs. It wasn't Bruno going into Gordon. It wasn't Gordon going into Bruno. It was just a clash of legs. What is going on? Anyway, coming back to the equaliser, I thought, right, okay, we've equalised. Second half, we've got the one-man advantage. I did also realise that Newcastle are going to go into low block, and that doesn't suit United. We were actually playing better. We were actually getting more chances when Newcastle had the full 11 men on the pitch. If you look at the stats, the first half, I think United had more shots than they did in the second half with the one-man advantage. This is why in the modern game, having that extra man isn't always as easy as we think. So look, I'm not blaming United as such. I knew that Newcastle were going to go into low block, and of course, Eddie Howe made the right substitutions. He brought on the players really late on who had pace, who could actually go and take the game to United on the counter-attack, and that's exactly what happened. But Malacia, I cannot ignore Malacia was terrible. He was awful last night. He came on, a few of his passes were shit, and then that big error against a player who's just come on. Malacia should have just taken him out. If that's the case, just take him out. Do not even let him get past yourself. The moment he got past Malacia, we knew we were in deep, deep shit. We knew we were in trouble, and that's exactly what happened. Look, I'm not taking anything away from him. The goal was amazing. The goal was fantastic, out of this world. And let's be honest, we've had quite a lot of these kind of goals against United. The only way they're getting goals or shots past Senny Lemons is by scoring worldies. How many times in recent games have we seen these random players come up and score worldies against Man United? It's like, yeah, we might as well have a pop. We might as well have a pop and see how things go. Take a shot and see how things go. Just absolute madness. Absolute madness. But look, it's going to come back to the squad. Look, it's not about Michael Carrick. Now, I'm going to touch on a few things. I'm going to go through quite a lot of things because there's lots and lots to talk about in today's show. There's lots to discuss because obviously there's a fallout of the game. Obviously, I've just kind of gone through the analysis of the game and how it went down in real time yesterday. We'll talk about this complete social media outcry on Paul Scholes and what he had to say about Michael Carrick's team last night. It didn't go down too well. We'll discuss what that was and why. And then, of course, we'll touch on United and their recruitment going forward. Look, there's lots and lots to discuss. But let me go and first bring up the controversy. The controversy from last night's game wasn't even the game. Look, we lost. We were upset. It was painful. Yes, but we all knew that we were running the risk at 1-1 of being counter-attacked. 1-1 is a dangerous scoreline, right? And yeah, Newcastle had nothing to lose. They had nothing to lose. In fact, like I said, I think at 1-1, I would have taken it. I would have taken it even against the 10 men. I was sat there thinking, I'd rather pick up a point than not pick up a point. Right? That was mine because I knew Villa and Liverpool had lost. So for me, we're still building on that lead of at least with 1 point. Whereas not getting a win, I think it would have been a lot worse if Aston Villa won and Liverpool won. Then I would be really, really upset. But if we were going to lose a game, last night was the game to lose. That was it. That was the game to lose last night. But anyway, there's been a controversy caused by Paul Scholes, the United legend. I don't know what is going on with him, by the way. I have no idea what's going on with Paul Scholes, but this is what he put out last night after the game, and it's sent social media into meltdown. Some people were talking about him being right saying this. Michael has definitely got something special about him because United have been crap last 4 games. Night. Tonali love. And if you don't believe me, there it is. Paul Scholes. Let me bring it up. Where is it? I can't bring up the image. All right. Okay. Well, It is Paul Scholes, by the way. It's Paul Scholes on Instagram with that. I don't know what he's trying to say there. It's like he doesn't like Michael Carrick. That's what I get. I get the feeling that he's not a Michael Carrick fan. He might not have been someone that he got on with him. But it's really strange. That is really strange for me, for an ex-Man United legend to come out and say that, and then not only say that, but to then say, love Tonali. Like, look, Tonali, did he have a decent game? Yeah, he had a decent game. I don't think he was special. I don't think he was sensational. I didn't think Tonali was the best player on the pitch. But to say that about Michael Carrick, of course, he's saying he's not anything special. It's almost like they've been waiting. It's almost like he and a few others, you know, we know the others who've been waiting around, waiting hopefully to see the first loss of United's, of Carrick's tenure at United. And I also feel like Gary Neville and a few others are not convinced about Michael Carrick. Now, they might know something we don't. Okay, they might know something we don't know about Michael Carrick. And I said to you that this is going to be the biggest test, whether Michael Carrick can pick up a team that has just lost. Will we be able to pick up a team, or will he be able to do that? That's the big question. And now we've got injuries as well. We've got injuries that we need to focus on, which isn't good news. We've got Mazraoui. I've got a clip on Mazraoui. Let me bring it up. So this is Mazraoui walking after the game, and you can clearly see he's struggling, man. We've got 11 days before our next game against Villa. That's the positive. That's the positive. That's the one thing that we can look at and say, well, we've got plenty of time to aid recovery and get our players back up to fitness. And my God, do we need that time. Right now, we do need that time. Because we can't play Malacia. We can't play Malacia. Anyway, so that's Mazraoui, right? Okay, that's Mazraoui. But the headline news, guys, is this morning about Scholes coming out with what he had to come out with. And look, Michael has definitely got something special about him because United have been crap last 4 games. Now, I don't usually sit on the fence, right? But I'm gonna sit on this fence here because I'll tell you why. Because in yesterday's show, in the preview show, I more or less said that first part out aloud. I'd already said United had been poor in the last few games. West Ham game was awful. Everton game, we were poor. We won, but we were poor. And against Crystal Palace, we were poor. We won through a few moments of magic, but we were overall as a team pretty shit. We were shit. So I do not disagree with that part of it. But what I disagree with is him saying it's Michael Carrick's fault. That's the only part I do not agree with. I look at it and think, well, we're crap. But that isn't because of Michael Carrick not doing something right. He's doing what he can do with the tools he's been given, the players that he's got. He's managing them well. He's making sure the players who've got injuries are slowly recovering. But this was going to happen. This was going to happen where if we pick up a few injuries, if you go back to my shows during January, I was screaming on top of my voice saying, guys, It's only 1 or 2 injuries and we're shafted because our squad is light. Our squad is shit. Our squad isn't good enough to go out and see out the rest of the season. That's what I was saying. And this is exactly the point I was trying to make, that this is going to happen. This could happen. And it doesn't matter. I know Ineos were using the excuse of, well, we're not playing much games, so the players surely will not need recovery time. They're not going to get injured because they're not going to be playing that many games. But this is the risk. This is the risk we took, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's backfired. It's backfired. And if Ineos think that we are just going to sit back and be happy with their call not to sign anybody in the January transfer window, they've got another thing coming. They've got another thing coming because I've got receipts. I've got receipts. I was stood there. I stood there. I sat here actually and I called them out. I said that if you do not sign anybody and we come to a moment in the league where we're doing well, we're in the Champions League spots, but we pick up 1 or 2 major injuries and then we're left hung out to dry, then you're to blame. All fingers should be pointing at Ineos. So that's what my criticism of Scholes is, and the Gary Nevilles and the Roy Keanes and everybody else, all these legends who line up to criticise the manager, I think is the easiest target here. We've seen it. They all go after the manager. But they never question these plonkers that are making the decisions that affect us. Look at the options Eddie Howe had off the bench. He brought on Murphy, he brought on a few others, he brought on plenty of players who could still do a job for him. And there's Man United bringing on Ugarte, Malacia, Zertsky. I knew it. And as soon as I saw them changes, I knew United are going to be lucky to walk away with a 1-1 draw, or something dramatic could happen and we could end up losing. And to be honest with you, I think the 1-1 would have been disappointing, but we could have at least kind of said, held our head high still, saying that we're still undefeated. But look, this was going to come. I'm glad that we've kind of got this loss over and done with, because there was a time where I was thinking, this is going to be a problem. Anyway, let me head to the chat. Let me see what you guys are saying, and then we'll discuss more on yesterday's game and the fallout. So we've got Sanas. Good morning, Sanas. Hope you're doing well. Rick, hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed yesterday's game. I mean, I don't know if many of you did. When Casemiro is off the pitch, our midfield is weak. Yeah, absolutely. It is so badly affected. I told you yesterday that let's pray for the draw, because I know that can give Manchester United problem in the Premier League. Yeah, you did. We were all concerned. I think a few of us were a little bit more optimistic, confident. But I knew deep down United hadn't been playing well. I've watched enough football to know that United were not in peak performance mode. Ugarte is great for Portugal. Yep, absolutely, Rick. I mean, Ugarte is... I would have loved for him to do well at United, but he simply isn't good. He simply isn't good enough. And when I first heard that Ugarte's come in, Paraguay... Is it Uruguay? Uruguay international. And I thought, right, we're going to get a proper... a workhorse in the midfield, almost like a Roy Keane, I thought, because the Uruguayans are always, really tough players to play against. But he's not been that player. This team can play 90 minutes running up and down, and they won't allow the opponent to breathe. I think that, yeah, you're talking about Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle just non-stop, man. And I think they were being very clear. They were using a few dark arts, weren't they, as well? We need 8 new players, says Niche. You have a wonderful run. Calm down, says Bobber. You've had a wonderful run. Calm down. Oh, so, yeah, look, we have. I think that's why look, I'm upset, and it's painful, but at the same time, I also want to see this test. And I know I might sound crazy here, but I want to see Michael Carrick under pressure, because that is the biggest telltale sign of a manager who's good or who's not good. I don't want him to be given the full-time permanent job whilst everything's going to plan, and then come in next season and we kind of collapse, or we go through a problem, or we go through some issues, and Michael Carrick can't deal with it. Michael Carrick collapses, and in them circumstances it's way too late. So I'd rather find out what Michael Carrick does after a loss like this. Will he pick up his players for the Villa game, which is now an absolutely a huge game, a must-win game? Absolutely. Rick says every loss is the same meltdown. City, lol. After every loss, yeah. Look, we're a million miles away. We should have stuck with Amrin. We've got players for his system, but now we've got no wingers at all. Nah. I'm not having that, Niche, man. Come on. Do you know what? I think we need to calm down. Ruben Amrin was an absolute fraud, man. Absolute fraud. And I know you guys don't want to hear it. And I was a big Ruben Amrin fan. But he didn't get the best out of the players, man. He didn't get the best out of the players. What Carrick is getting out of these players is sensational, because we know some of them are shit. What needs to happen is that we need better recruitment. We need to go out there and build a better squad. We need to get rid of dead wood in the team, which we've not done. And that's why Michael Carrick has nothing but to put on these players. If no one wants to buy, if no one wants to buy the Gross, why did we not cross into the box? Yeah, I thought we lacked crosses into the box. I actually, that's something that you point at, and I think is quite important, because we were struggling for not putting in crosses. I didn't understand why we weren't putting in crosses, especially when you've got Sesko playing. We can't break teams down. It's basically Ollie ball again. Yeah, look, yeah, that is the biggest problem we've got. We can't break teams down. That is our biggest problem, and Michael Carrick needs to find a solution to that, because once Newcastle went down to 10 men and they reverted to a low block system where they were defending deep, they had essentially 5 defenders at most of the second half. And we struggled. We struggled to get anything from that. So yeah, big problems. Why haven't we got players who can create more chances? Honestly speaking, our coach makes mistakes. This Malacia is not Manchester United standard. I will prefer Haven to come in second half than Malacia, honestly speaking. Yeah, I agree. I think the debate is going on whether he should have brought on Malacia, whether he could have brought on a few other people. He could have brought on Haven. He could have brought on, I think, some youngsters as well who are available on the bench. He could have actually played someone else in that position. There were talks about that being a bad decision. But I think at the time you're thinking, well, you know, we're playing against 10 men. Malacia, all he needs to do is just use his pace. Hasib, welcome to the show, mate. Team defend with 10 anyway, and that's what they did. Defend. Our midfield was tired. These boys are going to struggle with Europe next season. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. With Europe next season, I don't even want to think about it, because I know that this team is simply not good enough. we struggle. We need more faces. We need more players. We need more legs. We haven't got them. Ineos were in the house yesterday. Wilcox, Jim, the Rat, in the house. And I hope they were looking and realising that this team needs reinforcements. I don't think they want to spend money. That's the only issue. We're not buying anyone big in the summer. Ineos penny pinching. Yep, that's what we've heard, Nish, and that is the problem. They have to. We are still Manchester United, and the only way for them to profit is to invest in the team. Yeah, the question that I have is, if that was the case, why didn't they do that in the January window? Why didn't they bring in at least one or two new faces to give us that impetus to go and qualify for Champions League, not to risk not getting into Champions League? We are in a very, very good position. But if we have got a couple of injuries and our team is not performing and Carrick hasn't got the options to make the changes and we fail to qualify for Champions League, it is catastrophic. Really, really big mistake. I actually genuinely preferred Ahmad and Mbeumo on the right-hand side under Amrin. Looked way more dangerous. Well, I missed Ahmad yesterday. I felt like Mbeumo had a poor game. I don't like saying that, but he had a poor game. He missed that chance as well in the first half, which he should have been more composed with. He could have brought it onto his left foot and slotted it in. So, yeah, for me, not good. Ugarte is South American, Uruguay. Not good. Not good. He played well in Portugal, nowhere else. Yeah, he did play well. Ugarte played well in Portugal, but anywhere else, I think he struggled. He wasn't even featuring for PSG, let's be honest. PSG were probably thinking, whoa, these guys want to buy him? They've come out and they want to buy Ugarte. Yeah, let's sell him. These guys are daft enough to come and buy Ugarte. Carrick just put the players in their best position, but he messed up with training. He has made them less intense, and it showed yesterday. Yep, they are less intense. They're less intense, but I think Carrick's thinking, I don't want my first 11 to pick up any injuries. But there is, and I think their gaps between games is making them less intense because they're not up to speed. And Mbeumo was brought to complement Kuna as the left and the right ends. Now we're playing out of position. Yeah, look, I think Kuna had a decent game, but not good. I thought our front line was quiet yesterday. I think defensively, Hall and Trippier did a brilliant job. They just kept our wingers quiet. I think Mbeumo and Kuna had their hands full. I think it was very difficult. But overall, look, we've got to look at the brighter side of things. And the brighter side of things are that, look, this is our first loss under Michael Carrick. Let's not get carried away. We've had a good run. If someone had handed this to us on a plate before Michael Carrick started, so if Michael Carrick started, before he started, sorry, and we were told, right, would you take this win record, one loss, one draw, the rest of them are wins, would you take it? Absolutely. Absolutely. We would take it. So I'm not getting carried away with that. What I am worried about is our recruitment and our mistake not to go and sign somebody in the January transfer window. I think we're going to struggle now to keep everyone fit and make sure that we're going to win every single game. We've got some big fixtures coming up. We've got the Villa game. We've got Liverpool coming up as well. We've got some massive games coming up. And we need to be on our A game. We need to be on our A game. Whether we are or not is another question though, right? That is dependent on Michael Carrick going back to the drawing board and seeing what went wrong last night. Of course, they're going to say what we all know they're going to say, which is we struggle against low block teams. We struggle against teams that defend for their lives and want to counter us. And yeah, we need more creative players. We haven't got them. Kuna and Bruno Fernandes are our only two real creative players, players that can make something out of nothing. The others struggle. The others struggle in the team to do anything. They get the ball, they're brilliant at passing and stuff, but they can't do anything else. They can't make a goal from nothing. They can't make an assist from nothing. And it tells. You can tell, man. You can tell that we struggle. We struggle when it comes to things like that. Anyway, guys, make sure you hit the like on the stream, please. If you're in the house and you've forgotten, please make sure you hit the like. And if you're not a subscriber to the Man United stream channel, I don't know what you've been waiting for all this time, listening to me talk. You should be hitting that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and more from one single daily dose every day, 11 o'clock usually. But today I've come on a bit early because I could not wait to vent and offload some of my pain, because I've been in pain all night, man. I've been after the game, I was so upset. I was like, do I come on and do a live reaction to the game? And I thought, no, Travis, don't do that, Travis. Don't do that to yourself, because you're going to come out and you're going to rant and you're going to have a big kickoff and everyone's going to watch the video and say, Travis has lost it. But look, I've calmed down and I've looked at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that we've got plenty of games to play for. We've got more games to come. We can do more. We can do. Hasib says it's bad with Kuna. He's not a winger or a striker. We're going to get a winger, number 7 and number 10 going to be rotation options. Yeah, I think there's a question. Yeah, there are talks of that we're going to get another left winger. You're right. Bruno and Kuna are our only creative players. Baba says Newcastle can go toe-to-toe with Barca. It's scary if that's the Champions League pace and level. We are far away from it. Look, I thought Newcastle were good. I thought United should have at least taken the game to them. I thought the first half was 50-50. I thought United looked a lot better in the first half than they did in the second half. So, the Barcelona game is going to be interesting. But Champions League and European football is completely different to Premier League. It's played at a more tactical way, a different pace. And Barcelona have got enough to hurt Newcastle. But Newcastle, I think after yesterday's performance, I think they're going to be geared up. They needed this. They needed this for their team, their club. They were going through a period of ups and downs. But I said this to most of the people watching yesterday in the preview show, that Newcastle were the better team against Man City. Yeah, it was 2-1 to Man City, but Newcastle, I felt like, were the better team. They did not deserve to lose. Newcastle have not been in bad form. They've just been unlucky. So that's why I wasn't expecting much from yesterday's game, and it turned out that I was right, and I don't like being right. And I don't like being right about Ineos and the transfer window in January, but that is it, man. This is it. And you might sit here and watch me and think, Travis, sometimes this guy must talk a lot of shit. But I have worked in football long enough. I've seen what's going on in football to know when clubs are making the wrong decision. And when you can't go out there and strengthen your team in a transfer window, when you know the players that you've got are simply not good enough, is where the problem lies. Ineos, Wilcox, everybody, they knew Ugarte needs to be sold. They knew Malacia was already on the transfer list, out. All these players were on the transfer list, out. They were to be sold. But Ineos took the cheaper option of hanging on to these players rather than selling them and going to buy new players. That's all it came down to. Finances. It came down to penny pinching, like Nish said. It came down to Ineos looking at the books and thinking, actually, it's cheaper to hold on to Malacia because he's costing us barely nothing, when going out there and buying a new left back will cost us at least 10, 20 mil, even for a half decent one. So allow that. Oh, let's not go and buy a defensive midfielder, even in like someone like Gomez from Wolves, who's absolutely sensational, who's playing wicked right now for Wolves. He's carrying that team. And we could have bought him. Yeah, he would have been, what, 30, 40 mil? I don't know what his salary would have been. Maybe a lot. But whatever it was, he would have added to this team. Casemiro coming off, Gomez replacing, or Gomez and Casemiro in that midfield. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. We have dropped the ball when it came to transfers and the January transfer window. And who's to blame? Ineos. Why didn't they? Why didn't they go out there? There's no point now talking about, oh my God, what's Malacia doing on the pitch? What Malacia is doing on the pitch is we haven't got any other options. What Ugarte is doing on the pitch is we haven't got any other options. Newcastle got bopped by the guy we sent to Barcelona. Rashford, eh? Rashford. I mean, look, I think it'll be an interesting game. But yeah, we've got 11 days of no football. So yeah, we've got to lick our wounds, go again next up. And let's see, guys. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's joined me in today's show. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your comments and your interaction on the live show. This is why I do the live streams, because I really enjoy the interaction with the fans. And it's almost like a cleansing moment. It's almost like therapy for me. Because whereas before I would sit there and sulk and be upset about everything that I've watched, when I can share the pain with Man United fans and we can all console ourselves and say, look, it's not that bad. We've been on a very good run and we were bound to lose here and there. Might as well be against Newcastle away from home when there's been a week of disasters around us. Liverpool losing, Villa losing, so it doesn't really affect us as much as it would have done if we had a week where everyone around us had won. So I'm going to take that as a positive. That's the silver lining for me. Okay, now before I leave, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody. Make sure you hit the like, make sure you subscribe. You're watching the Man United stream.